Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Funny You Should Say That. I'm here with. That was a weird noise. I'm here with Obakeng, Mikhail Kanaka, Storm Legacy, Werner Weber, and Peter Sawanga has decided to come out of his cave tonight and join us.
Come out of this bad cave.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Woo, lockdown was lockdown.
All right.
Joe,
so,
I wanna ask, how's your tattoo challenge going? Like, do people even give a shit anymore?
Nah,
Just checking.
nah, it's
Just
not happening.
checking.
It's not happening.
How many people
I didn't
are
want to
we?
do it. I didn't
Are
want
we?
to
Are
do
we?
it.
Are we getting to the numbers where you're gonna get that mom tattoo or that 50 kilograms is my goal weight tattoo, whatever the fuck it is you're gonna
When
get.
he's 75.
Joe needs to change it up. There's enough woke comedians that we upset, so you should actually go. If we get 75 dislikes, you'll get the tattoo.
I'm just asking. 'Cause every time I have to rewind these streams, I see this thing of Joe saying, "Hey, I'm gonna get a tattoo." I'm just like, "Oh yeah, there's that."
3 months later, still hasn't gotten it.
It hasn't.
Sorry.
Nobody's been helping me get to the goal, so it's probably not going to happen. Maybe I should rethink the challenge, but from next week onwards, nobody's going to see that little promo anymore. Speaking,
Let's not act like you
That's
don't
my
want
idea.
it to happen.
I don't want it. I don't. I hate tattoos. That's the thing. Queen Wordsmith
Hey,
has
guys,
joined us,
so,
guys.
tattoo.
She says
Sorry.
hello, and she's laughing at the tattoo challenge. Chico's also saying, "What's up, petty socialists?" Thank you, Chico.
Chico.
Oh,
What?
I've never seen
I
Chico say it.
resemble
Chico's an
that
emoji
remark.
to me. That's all. Like if I
I
get to
will
see his
not
face, I'll be like,
sit
"You don't
there.
look anything like your emoji." that's Chico. Chico's just a fucking emoji. I'm just like, yo, man, where's your smiley face, bro?
All right. So tonight's topic,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, we are continuing the conversation of the dark side of comedy. Now, yes, it's true that comedy comes from a dark place, but we're talking about the industry, the dark side of the industry. On our last show, we were talking very heavily on the whole idea of, or this perception that some comedians have of being elitist, dictating who can be in a comedy club and who's allowed to do comedy. We had a whole discussion on that in our last show, so please go check that out. But we're continuing it because we discovered, or we found out, not found out, sorry, I'm misspeaking here. We also, between us, we decided, you know what, there's other things that we didn't touch on in terms of the dark side of comedy, and they are joke theft, cliques within the comedy industry, the business side of the comedy industry, and we'll get into that a little bit. Some gigs that might hurt the industry, egos that get in the way, and as well as venues can sometimes be part of the dark side of comedy. So what we're going to do tonight,
Definitely.
what we're going to do tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is we are going to, I'm going to allow 7 minutes for each of these guys to give their opinion on what they think the dark side of comedy is. And then at the end, we'll let our oracle, Peter Sawanga, ask some questions to us, and we'll take questions from, I can see it's very confused.
This motherfucker's been watching too much Matrix. Just because Peter's black and foreign doesn't mean you have to be an oracle. You know, the oracle in the Matrix was given that power. He was like, we need another.
Thank you,
black
Obakeng.
person. And they were like, yo.
Oracle.
It's because he asks a lot of questions.
So the oracle has always been black in the Matrix, and Joe was like, we need a role for this guy.
That's not at all what I...
Well, we can't call him sir.
No.
Oh, it's that.
Anyway,
Don't do that.
Peter always
That's
has...
cultural appropriation, right?
Hey, Peter.
Peter always has great questions, so we'll give Peter
Okay.
7 minutes, and then afterwards, if Peter, any questions you have, write them down, and then you can ask us all because you always have great questions, and we'll always take questions from the audience.
Questions part of the show.
Cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll go first with my 7 minutes, and yeah, no problem. Sorry, there was a bit of a secret message going on there. But, okay, cool. So, let me start. Here's my 7 minutes starting now. All right, so here's my opinion. I'm probably going to touch on everything that we're going to talk about tonight, but I do believe that there is, when it comes to the dark side of comedy, there's a lot that maybe comedians are embarrassed, shy, don't really want to talk about out in the open, which is why we're having this discussion now. joke theft is a real thing. I think there are ways to handle it. I think that some comedians don't handle it well in terms of how they should approach a fellow comedian to say like, "Hey, man, I think you stole my joke," or maybe not put it in those words, but "Hey, man, I have a similar joke. Let's work it out. Let's talk about it. Who came up with it first, and try and work it out." This is something that happened to me in my comedy career, where a comedian realized that they were saying a very similar joke to mine. It was actually like literally almost the same. And then he approached me, he DM'd me, he said, "Hey Joe, here's a clip of my joke. I know that you do the same joke." And then we discussed it. We were like, cool. I told him that I came up with it, I think in 2011, 2012. And he was like, "Oh, well, then you had it before me, then you keep it." That's a very nice way of dealing with joke theft. But unfortunately, there are comedians out there that will steal and not even tell you. And some of it is happening with our senior comedians, and I'm not going to drop any names, but these stories have been happening throughout the careers of, or throughout the comedy industry in general. This is not something new, but it would be cool to see if we can come up with a solution tonight, or a way of moving forward. Because in today's world, social media, I mean, that's one of the things why people don't, or some comedians don't put out their material today on social media, is because they're so scared that it gets stolen. So what do we do? Is it just a simple situation of saying, well, if someone takes your material, come up with new material, because you are a comedian, that is your job. We can discuss that, and I would like to get your guys' opinions on that and see where it goes. Other than that, clicks. Clicks can be dark in terms of like we could be considered right now a clique.
We're a cabal. Get it right.
Yeah, I think
but there are
Click. I know with my click. Oh, sorry. I got distracted a little bit.
there are some comedians that hang around each other all the time, and they mingle with each other, and they create relationships with each other, and some comedians are able to elevate another comedian's career in this clique, and it's all that whole saying of it's all about who you know. So is it really that bad, or are there toxic cliques? Maybe are there cliques that kind of look at other comedians and go like, you know what, we don't like you, so we're not going to work with you. I don't know. I've experienced cliques, but I don't think I've been on the brunt of them, at least for as far as I know. But anyway, that's as far as I know about cliques. I think that naturally, like-minded comedians are going to group together, like the one-liners will group together, the storytellers will group together, and sometimes even culturally, as comedians, they'll group together. Like-minded.
And the colors with the colors, the blacks with the blacks.
Not
That's
to
why
that extent.
Werner and Mikhail are such good buddies, and you don't know about it, Joe.
Obviously, don't you know when I sign into this on Skype, I have net blank just before I enter.
Net blank.
Okay, wait. Let me actually address that.
You should hear what happens before this podcast starts. Ja, Werner, hoe gaan het met jou? Ja, Mikhail, nou, dis goed hoor. Ja, ons gaan saam met al hierdie ander comedians praat hoor. En hulle whatever, that's what. That
Guys,
one.
Just lost the freedom of
I think
There's a wit ou, there's a blanke ou. Sorry, I'm on gym.
I think the comedy industry is actually very diverse, and I haven't seen whites grouping with whites and coloreds grouping with coloreds and blacks grouping. I haven't seen that, to be honest. But anyway, I could be wrong. And then
You're very wrong.
And then the other thing is
completely wrong.
gigs. I think this will fall under the same kind of category. Gigs that hurt the comedy industry and venues. So gigs that hurt the comedy industry, in my opinion, are gigs that don't respect comedians. Flat out, simple as that. Any gig that doesn't, any venue that doesn't respect the art or what we're trying to do is a bad venue to work with. Gigs that don't help the industry, poorly run gigs. And it's not anyone's fault per se. It's just maybe that comedian doesn't come from a theater background. Simple things like not having a spotlight when they should, that kind of stuff. The mic isn't working, the sound is wrong. Those kind of gigs can hurt the industry. And also false advertising. Advertising that you have top comedians when all of them are actually open micers. Nothing wrong with having open micers, but it's just that you're creating a false perception in our industry, and that can hurt the industry. I'll elaborate more on that later if people have questions. And then egos getting in the way, which I think also falls with the clicks kind of category. When do we put our egos aside to better the comedy industry? You know, there's times I feel that when we could all come together and fight something, or not really fight something's the wrong word, but like come together and better the industry. And it seems like we're all for it for about 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden it just falls flat. You know, is there a way we can get past that? Is there a way we can all work together? Because ultimately, I think what we all want is a better industry for all of us. And not just one person benefiting from it, or a few people benefiting from it. So yeah, that's pretty much my little introduction. You guys can give opinions or add to it as you like. We'll start.
Yeah.
We'll start with Storm. How would you like to? Yeah, let's start with you, buddy. Your 7 minutes.
Storm from the X-Men just grew a beard.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a pop joke. Fuck.
Oh no, you were there, but you know.
Yeah.
All right. 7 minutes. 7 minutes starts now.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe, for having me on again. People might be asking in the chat, why is Storm here again? Easy. Politics. Now...
The weather's fine outside, but that's why Storm is here.
Eh?
Never mind.
Okay.
Also, another
Obakeng, please stop.
It's a very pop joke. Sorry, I apologize.
Oh,
I apologize. That was horrible. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, let's take a minute of silence for that.
I'm quitting comedy now.
F in the chat.
That was it. I had a good run.
Go ahead, Storm.
Thanks. Okay, let's go back 7 days. I need to clarify something before I continue.
Yeah, I know.
I see.
After that comment.
I said last week that Joe supports Trump. And what I meant by that is Joe supports Trump as the president. Because it's possible to be a president and a person, but not being the same thing at the same time. Put it into perspective. Donald Trump is going up against Joe Biden. Now, would you vote for Joe Biden, the person who will turn the White House into an old age home in Palm Springs before his first term is up? And we go back further than that. His first opponent, who was she? Hillary Clinton. Not even the kids would vote for her. She was a woman that couldn't control the missile in her own husband's pants in the 90s.
Oh, shit.
And you want her to control the missile of the US. It'll be like, oh, shit. Coronavirus made me miss my air appointment. Time to nuke China. That's not gonna work.
I think I'm at the wrong podcast.
God damn. All right.
Okay, I need to get Obakeng back on board. So
Yeah, I'm lost.
Okay.
president
I'm here.
and person can be two different things.
No doubt.
See, we talk about ego in comedy, and for the most part, it's not a bad. For the most part, it is a bad thing actually, but I think it's something that we should learn to use properly. Take me, for example. I've been in comedy for 10 years. You don't know me, right? Good. You shouldn't. Why? I always gave a fuck what everybody else thought in the last 10 years. Don't go there. It's going to be an inconvenience. Don't go there. There are steps. There are stairs. See, 2020 brought you a pandemic. 2020 made me find my ego. I'm going to tell you a story. You see Peter over there? He's one of two people that got me into comedy. And the first night I did comedy, there were two entrance ways. bathroom, and the entrance to the venue of the comedy. Now, this place was called Ragazzi, or as Rustam called it, Eat Life, Ragazzi.
Jesus, like I
Guess
was a comedy venue.
which,
Ew,
guess
shit.
which
Back in the
side
day, bro.
had
I
a
got
flight
video of
of
that.
stairs? Guess which side had the flight of stairs? Yeah, going up to the venue. To this day, 10 years later, I still don't know how I got down because I was drunk.
Did
Um,
Peter carry you?
Yeah,
That is
bro.
abuse.
We got him,
You literally
bud.
abused Peter. Peter can't carry his own
Hey,
body
brother.
weight.
No,
What
hey,
the fuck?
Well, this is 9 years ago. He
Still,
was a lot
even if it was today, you give Peter like 5 kilograms on each arm. It's not happening, guy. Like
You don't know me. You do not know the beast. Me.
you cry over
That
20
was-
rand, I know.
It was
Like-
2011. It was 2011. I thought everybody that comes from Kenya is strong. So, yeah.
Oh, they can run. They're not strong for shit.
Oh my God. Okay. I don't
Sorry.
even have anything for that.
Okay, can I continue?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm not
Sorry.
from this day forward, or in fact, from this pandemic forward, I'm not going to care anymore about everybody else because you don't know me because I was too nice. I let everybody take the spot that should have been mine. No, it's fine. Take the spot. It's okay. No, I'm not going to go there. There are steps. There are stairs. And for those that don't know, I have a wheelchair. And not the Charles Xavier wheelchair, the South African wheelchair. That doesn't work.
4 wheels instead of 2.
I still can't pass.
You got an
I still
ANC
can't be part of the
wheelchair?
Bollywood
Come
group.
on. You got to vote differently, brother.
You does donuts and shit. It's like, yeah. It's for front wheel drive. No.
All right, guys, come on, let him finish.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, come on.
How much time do I have?
Continue.
I've paused, so you have just under 3 minutes.
Just under 3 minutes.
I'll
Okay,
give
cool.
up 4 minutes for Storm if he wants to speak. I don't know. I don't know how this works.
No, it's fine. I've paused
My brain is getting tired, so I'll use the 3 minutes. Now, I've been, not to get religious, I've been blessed that I know people and I've come to know people that are on the right side of comedy. I'll tell you another story. Last year, Joe Emilio ran a gig, and I was one of the participants, or should have been one of the participants. You'll see why I wasn't. So this whole day, corresponding back and forth with Joe, and I let him know that I'm the guy in the wheelchair. And Joe does everything he can to make it accessible, but fuckface over here thought it's not the best move for me. Now, I could say it was financial. The bottom line is I didn't show up, and it was something that required an apology, which I did extend to Joe. Although this is going a very dark path, I'll end with this. I'm not very
You actually
famous.
hired Peter that day to carry you up the stairs, but you didn't show up. I was there at that gig. But
Oh!
Uh,
Oh! Throw me under the bus.
I know Peter was there. He was ready with his muscles. Lacked that off.
okay.
Did I run there? Did I Uber there or did I run there? I want details of my king.
Both.
Bro.
Both. It was a full body. It was full body exercise.
Okay. Now
Go
the
ahead,
whole
Stu.
point,
Go ahead, Stu.
the narrative of this whole story that I'm telling you in this 7-minute rant, hashtag rants and revs, is that I'm not as famous as I should be. And talking about people that aren't famous, Mikhail Kunika.
Oh, shit.
I would say
I don't know it.
Okay, this is the roast part of the show.
I would say I started knowing Mikhail about a week before he became a regular face on Joe's channel. I know, terrifying sight every week. Well done.
It's not wrong.
Now, I've noticed last week that Mikhail now has a fan club of fuckboys and fangirls. And why is that? Because I guarantee you, the first time I was on this channel, nobody liked him. That changed because people gave him time.
30 seconds.
And that's not what many people do in comedy, which goes on to sharing. I have a question for the live chat. I'll end on this. And while you guys put it down there, I'll ask everybody on the panel, which is your social media app of preference? Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram?
That's a good question.
The comments in Pornhub are amazing. Sorry, Pornhub. Shit.
All right. All right.
Okay. Okay, that's not really going to work. So this is what I'm going to leave you with. Start sharing comedies stuff. Cape Town comedy specifically. Because Cape Town comedy is not going to get to the level Joburg comedy is if we start looking after ourselves first. Hit that retweet.
All right.
All right, cool. All right,
Gotcha.
next. Unfortunately, Werner had to leave. He has a bit of a family stuff that he has to deal with. So Werner will not be on the stream moving forward, and that's fine. Totally understand. Good luck, Werner, and hope everything turns out well. All right, so let's see. I have to do a bit of rearrangements here. Sorry. So that's Peter now. Peter's moved there. Mikhail is now here. Otherwise, people are going to think that, people are the wrong people here. All right. Now,
You read?
let's go with Obakeng. You can go
Oh,
next
shit.
and give your opinion.
All right.
Obakeng hasn't recovered from that bad jokes.
Bro, I'm still, yeah. I'm contemplating my very existence in this regard.
Jet lag.
Right now.
Jet lag.
Wait, are we?
Yeah, more like ICU.
Wait, are we supposed to answer Storm's question now, or do we answer it later?
We can do that later.
Okay,
We
cool.
can do that
why
later.
not?
as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool. Do it later.
Take some notes.
All right.
Obakeng, your
My-
7 minutes starts now.
Okay, thank you. My first thing that I want to address is the clicks part of the discussion, right? I think when it comes to clicks in comedy or in any industry for that matter, it's something that is unavoidable. As you've said, Joe, like-minded people will always gravitate towards other like-minded people. It's always going to happen. It's friendships. It's natural. There are some people that you like, some people that you don't, some people that are cool to meet with at gigs, some people that are not. And you feel comfortable talking to those people and even, to extent of booking those people. My qualm with that is when it becomes when the click becomes toxic is when you are quote unquote running a gig and then you only booking your friends, whereas the stage time is there to book other comedians or to give other comedians a chance to get on, a market that you probably have a foot into that other comics don't, that could really do well on that stage. That's where it gets a bit tricky for me, because I'm just like, a gig is a gig and every comic needs stage time. So if you ran a gig, Joe, like you always run gigs, and all you did every week in, week out, was to book Mikhail, Peter, Obakeng, and Werner and Storm, it doesn't make a difference. You know what I mean? It doesn't grow the industry, because all we're seeing are your friends regurgitated over and over again. That's the problem that I have. And I've seen and heard that there will be certain comedians that that only book their friends and only their likes, or maybe if it's that's quote unquote deemed a colored gig or a black gig or whatever, they'll just book their friends. That's the part that I have a problem with. But other than that, if it's just clicks that are happening because people are friends, I honestly don't give a fuck. As long as it's not a click that is purposely hurting the industry. All right. So That's as far as I go with that, because I think you can't escape. You can't want to force everyone to be together, because, like I said last week, people are even comics. Comics are people first before they are comics, and that's where we operate from in general. So you will be comfortable with people, with whoever that you're going to be comfortable with. I might, because me and Peter, for example, have a commonality when it comes to hip hop and I don't know, whatever, interest in that kind of thing. So it's easier for me to be friends with him, and that
Muscle mass. I said muscle mass. Commonality. We got similar
No,
muscle mass. Right?
I was trying to not say anything about your failures in life, but you brought it up.
All right,
You brought it up.
Peter,
You have mass. Peter just has mass. Muscle has nothing to do with your mass. Peter, you step on a scale and the scale still. Please step on. Like it's just like it's still waiting. You get like a fucking error 404. Yo, so the next thing that I want to address is the joke theft thing, which I'm not gonna lie, I've seen a bit of it. I haven't seen a lot of it, but that's because I'm very new in comedy and there's a lot of things that I'm not aware of. But I've also been in a situation where I had a similar joke to Yassine Barnes. I almost said Baker, but Yassine Barnes. Why did you laugh so when I said Yassine Baker?
You sound
You
embarrassed.
said almost Yassine Baker as if it's a downgrade.
No, it's not. But I almost had a similar joke. I had a similar joke actually to Yassine Barnes, but I realized after making the joke, and when we were kind of at the same gig, and he made the joke, and I actually made the joke first, and he made the joke, and I realized after I made the joke that I wasn't aware that my joke was actually inspired by his, because it was something that he said that was stuck in the back of my head, and I came up with a different joke that kind of had a similar premise. So it's a thing that's there, but if you're gonna do it blatantly, then you should be taken to task for that, because no comedian can own a premise. You know what I mean? All of us are a premise is just life experience, and we all experience it in the same way. So you can't own a racism joke. You can't own a, I don't know, dodgeball joke or whatever, a sex joke. But if the premise is the same, it's fine. But if your joke is word for word, then that is completely fucked up. And I think that's where a lot of comedians blur the line, because the jokes may be similar but not the same. But it's something that you can't escape. However, if you're going to do it word for word and stealing a style, which I've actually called out a comedian at a certain gig because he was like literally stealing word for word basket mouth. You guys know basket mouth was from Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Yeah, there was a comic that literally he stole his cadence, his style, the joke, and I confronted him about it, and he had the audacity to say no. I didn't. I'm like, my guy.
Cover. He was doing a cover. It's karaoke.
Yeah. Like karaoke jokes. So that shit. I think it definitely needs to be called into task, because the thing is about comedy is not experienced like music. You know what I mean? It's very much attached to the person that says it, not as much the premise. So you can cover. I don't know how much time I got going on, Joe. So if I'm
Just
going
under
over
2
time
minutes.
because I had to blabber. Huh?
Under 2 minutes.
Okay. So any comic that steals a joke, because everyone that steals a joke, they definitely know. If you're saying a similar premise, then you might be excused. But if you are stealing a joke word for word, you have no fucking creativity in you, and you definitely need to let, because what you are doing is you are leeching off of somebody's hard work. Because for you to come up with a good joke, work on it. Because that's the crux of every good joke. You can come up with a very nice joke, but there's a lot of stage time putting into working on it for it to become very much refined, and for it being a very killer joke. And you are, as a joke thief that you are, joke thief comedian out there, is coming into the back end and stealing all the work that has already been done. And that shows the amount of integrity that you have, which is absolute zero. So for you to be called out on that, you have to be called out. But however, as you've mentioned, Joe, if there was a clash in premises and it needs to be addressed, and there's timings and whatever, then there's a very good and diplomatic way of how to handle it. But if you're basing your work based off of other people's work, you don't have a future in comedy, because guess what? Comedians are very much invested in comedy. So somebody will know. Even if you think you're stealing some joke that is from 1986, we follow and we research this shit. So somebody will pick that shit up, and it will. And once somebody finds out, perception like travels in this game faster than you think, and it will. You are on your way to killing your own career as quick as you've built it. Yeah, that's about all I have to say on that. There was something else that the third topic that we had on this whole thing, but I forgot it, so I'll address it.
Had anything to do with muscle mass?
Hell, I don't know. I'll give
okay. All right, thanks. All right, no, we good. Hey, if you're done, you're done.
It is the
done, you're done.
All right, so now I'm gonna put up Peter or Mikhail. Oh, this is a tough one.
I tell you what, Joe. Let me just ask questions, because a lot of what has been said I agree with, but there's a few points that I disagree with, and at least don't fully understand, that I want to ask, but I want to ask everyone. So, Mikhail, you go. I'll present my point of view in the form of general questions. How's that?
All right, that's a good idea. Yeah, I like that. Okay, cool. Mikhail.
There's no white privilege on the show. They're directing Kyle. Mikhail, go.
Look at this.
Mikhail, your 7 minutes starts now.
All right. Well, we all clearly know that the thing Peter doesn't understand is his lack of muscles, but head Storm up. He's got to contact a Herbalife. So if you need some help, Storm is here.
Storm has some serious like arm exercises. They involve wheels, but you know.
Oh yes. Okay.
He has pretty strong arms.
Upper body strength. I like that.
Okay. Firstly, the joke theft thing. I've been lucky enough not to experience it with regards to really seeing it. The only time I've actually experienced it, Joe ran a knockout comedy competition at Meraki in 2016, and a mutual acquaintance of ours, he used to be a friend of ours, but with time and being a hack, that changed. And we all called him out for stealing jokes. I think he's probably working for VBS now, the way he stole. But
we're dropping bombs today, baby.
Joe, this is why you need a producer on the back end for some sound effects, man. You need a guy. You need those things.
I can organize.
Please, we need some of that shit.
So that's the only time that I physically saw it, where I was at a gig, and unfortunately also actually knowing the comedian beforehand, that you could see it was plain and clear stealing jokes. Okay, he did have a bit of history with it. He did use always the excuse, but I saw something similar on 9gag after I wrote it. That's not how it works. You can't now bold a Ferrari and then tomorrow say, but I only saw a picture of what one looks like this morning. No, it simply doesn't work that way. But in general, I've been lucky enough not to see it. So with regards to that, my experience has been usually comedians that I've met, that I've become friends with, performed with, have been hardworking. But yes, I do agree. It's something that definitely needs to be called out, because it's not healthy for the industry, because there's a lot of chances the guy that stole the joke won't be found guilty, because the audience might actually see the original comedian maybe 3 weeks later and think he was the one that stole it. So it must be definitely pointed out as soon as possible. With Obakeng saying jokes are similar, that I have experienced, and it was a blessing, but it was also terrible. Joe and I went to the Savannah Newcomer Comedy Showcase in 2014, and a good friend of ours, a very good comedian who's now in Joburg, he has a joke where the punchline is homeschooling, and I have a joke where the punchline, so the whole build-up is different, but sadly the punchline is the same. And I didn't even dispute the fact that he most likely wrote the joke before me, because he's been doing comedy a lot longer than I was at that stage. And I didn't know him before I heard that joke. I'd written my joke in my own time, and then so there sometimes, very scarcely, there can be a coincidence. As luck would have it, he was number 10 on the lineup. I was number 11. And he dropped the punchline, and that joke was part of my set, so I had 2 minutes to completely reconfigure a new set before going on. Now, the blessing was I was very, very lucky and blessed enough to have done well enough with the other back of my mind jokes. But I spoke to him afterwards, and jokingly, we had a good chat about it, and he says, no, he understands. So I think, as Joe said, if there is a chance that you coincidentally come across a joke with the same punchline, even though the build-up's completely different, it's completely a different style. If comedians can at least talk about it and then come to agreement, okay, either, okay, we don't do the same venue, so you can still get away with doing the joke, or if you do the same circuit, okay, the person that wrote the joke first is entitled to use the punchline. I think that's a very amicable and mature way to deal with
diplomatic.
it.
Yeah.
It's like the Treaty of Versailles. Kofi Annan was there.
Unless
hey,
you
Mikhail
go Ronnie
and
Majimola
Storm
and bring a fucking whip and fucking whip the next comedian. You know, Ronnie Majimola did that shit. He whipped some other comedian that stole his joke like on stage. I heard stories. Brought a fucking jump for a gig.
And then to get on to clicks, yeah, I think we firstly should not confuse clicks in comedy and friendships in comedy. I think it's very important that we differentiate the two. I've been very, very lucky that I've always performed at either gigs that were managed by friends, or I've been lucky enough to perform at gigs with friends. So naturally, I'll be drawn towards the people that I'm friends with, that I appreciate and actually value in my life outside of the stage.
Which is why.
And it's also important to note that at some stage a few years ago, Joe and I was organizing a gig together in Somerset West, and sometimes it is sometimes a bit easier to get your friends on the lineup, but just purely from a contact point of view. It's not based on favoritism. It's just easier. It's easier to get them in contact. But I do agree with the fact that you shouldn't purposely just invite your friends, or based on our little right-wing cabal we've apparently created, only purely.
Are we there with this whole thing, guys?
Apparently, I think all three of us. I think all 5 of us have a plot next to Irania. That's how right-wing we are, apparently.
I'm running down the right wing.
I'm too new for this all the smoke, guys. I still need unpaid 5-minute stage time.
I think if Joe ever takes a promo photo of us, we'll all be standing from right to far right in the photo, according to what people are saying.
Especially me standing.
Will we be wearing Falzkun and have the right muscle tone?
We will. You wouldn't. So
you don't even make the picture. We'll have to zoom in and like filter.
So that because let's be honest, what we've been discussing, that a lot of comedians in the past couple of weeks haven't agreed with us. Unfortunately, that's where the clique becomes toxic, because they don't agree with our point of views, and in certain cases, us not agreeing with theirs, the chances of us not being invited to their gigs is more likely because of that toxic clique thing. Comedians can't either see past their ego with regards to another comedian, or they can't see past their very highly opinionated non-tertiary education opinion, which is always a right accordingly.
You tread the line between elitist and just douchebag so well.
Douchebaggery.
Peter, let's be honest, I stepped on that line on purpose. Johnny Cash walked the line. That's what I'm doing.
I think all of us are going to be cancelled by association with Mikhail. Like,
obviously, you have an Afrikaner on your channel. You were buggered to start off with.
My guy,
So that's where
I'm from the free state, so I gotta get out of jail free class.
Yeah,
I don't know. I still have free parking.
Yeah, you still have free parking at least. I have to pay for mine. So yeah, that's where the cliques become really, really toxic. And I think that should be looked past. And then lastly, with regards to gigs being bad and poisonous and toxic towards the comedy community. Nomad Bistro. The amount of problems that comedians have had, the owner at some stage made the most stupid, ridiculous remarks. Sadly, they've closed down, but it could be worse. They could still be open.
Wait, Roman's greatest product is coming to the show tomorrow.
Oh my
You want
God.
to jeopardize the roast
Oh, you know
tomorrow
what?
for Joe.
Oh, you know what?
You see what I said before the show? I was like, there's gems for the life. And I was not wrong.
Please continue, Mikhail.
The thing is,
Mikhail dish.
there we go. No, venues, they don't always have the necessary lighting or sound equipment and stuff like that. That you can help, because a lot of time a venue is very keen to do it, but they don't have the experience. So that's fine. That's something that can be taught and grown, and experience comes with it. But you do get venues where either the owners or the staff sort of either treat stand-up comedy as just a simple little, they quiet on a Wednesday, they bored, let's do it, or they treat it as we booking comedians because we couldn't actually get a band to play that evening. And I think that's unfair to the comedians that make the effort to write the material and do the distances and go perform there. So I think that is also, it's bad for the industry, because the comedians and the audience start picking up on it. They'll pick up that the comedians aren't really happy to be there because the owner's a douche.
Yeah.
Or
That's
so
fair.
and then just to finish off, I didn't want to get too much on my soapbox tonight. Didn't really feel like it. No, this is me light. It's me light.
Get out of here. Let's go. All right, cheers, guys. Thanks.
Peter, come back. I got your $20.
And he's back.
Of course.
He's gonna pay
Give me my money, bitch.
Wait. Keep going. I'm gonna come back soon. Wait.
All right.
Is he getting 20 rand?
The thing I do want to finish off on is, we've discussed a lot about comedians being woke and comedians being part of the cancel culture, and we're busy discussing tonight. There we go. Some paper.
You are not getting it, Peter. I'm just saying.
Dude, he needs that for his protein shakes.
You know what? I will not sit here. I will not sit here and
I'm just.
fuck this shit. Bye.
Just say, yo, Peter. What? No, Mikhail, keep going. Peter, fuck Peter.
Peter's just looking for his e-wallet to put it in. No, the thing is, we've discussed in detail, and we obviously with Peter later on and more and further in detail the toxicity in the comedy community, and especially what we've seen and what we've experienced in Cape Town. But the sad thing is, we could do so much more for the industry. We could do so much more for the art, and we can grow so much more personally if we could put the egos aside. Yes, you need to be positive in what you do. You need to be slightly arrogant and have self-confidence. I won't disagree with that. If you want to be an arrogant dick, but you've got the material to back it up, that's fine. But hounding each other and canceling one another and only inviting your friends to gigs or only inviting comedians that agree with what you have to say, and stealing material from one another, we're not helping each other at all. And you are making it difficult for people that have been watching comedy live in Cape Town for 2-3 years, all starry-eyed, going, I want to do this, I want to try this. And then they pick up on, or they hear all this bullshit we've got going. It's not good for the community. It's not good for the art. Yes, you will never agree with everyone in life, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. You can't get along with everyone in life. It would be ideal if we could, but the reality is that we can't. But if, let's say, Joe and I not only differ in opinion, but we have different styles of comedy, we have different friends, we're part of different cliques, if we can still go, listen, I like your material, You have a positive effect on the audience. I would like to have you at my gig. That's the whole point. We are supposed to stand-up comedy firstly because we have fun and because we enjoy it and because we love it. And we do it because the audience enjoys it and they have fun and they have laughter. And by being little primary school girls and bitch fighting the whole time about the most stupid of topics, and with our opinions and egos, we're not growing the culture. We're making it less fun for each other. And sadly, the reality is, if a comedian isn't happy within the community he's in, it's going to show in his material.
Yeah.
And then all of these audience members we've worked so hard for will leave because we haven't put in the effort to make
And
things.
we lose all the potential Instagram followers, which is a very big part of my life.
On the other hand, follow me on Mixer. I'm Joe Banker.
Can I just speak through a couple things quickly?
Yeah.
First, props to Joe for opening this platform for everybody, even with people he perceives that he disagrees with. Because that's exactly what Mikhail outlined. There are too many people that are just shutting doors because they don't agree with something. And please, somebody give Peter some mass, or the only mass he'll do is masturbate.
Peter just needs to eat. Peter just needs to eat. That's all.
Oh my goodness.
Someone please download that motherfucker Mr. Delivery.
Sit here.
All right.
Peter.
All right.
Take this abuse.
Okay.
Peter,
Just sit. You don't have enough muscle mass to stand. Just keep sitting.
Mikhail, well said. I must admit, well said. Okay, Peter.
So how much time do you have left? I'm gonna divvy up and see what's up.
No.
How much time we talking?
We're gonna go over the hour, and that's fine. So just.
I'm not even
gonna time you. Just we haven't heard from you for a week or 2 weeks, so we want Peter. So just say what you need to say.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Black Lives Matter.
You're gonna put that on me?
Wow.
Do this to me?
Like I wasn't here for that other podcast. All of a sudden, I don't think I'm black anymore. When did I lose my black card? Or was I holding the space for both Peter and I? What's going on here, guys?
The moment Obakeng got his IRP5, he lost that card.
Like, I love the IRP5. It pays for this rent, motherfucker.
But Storm is on fire tonight. We should hashtag gonorrhea.
Wow. Bad joke. I'm glad that it's not on stage. But it is on the internet archive forever.
You want to submit those challenges, don't you?
All right, here we go, Peter.
Okay. All right.
Peter,
Shut up. All right. So here's my thing. My approach to comedy is pretty much how I approach sort of challenges in life. You get into it head in, and you get into it simply because you have the love for it and you have the passion for it. Now, this ties into ego, and this is going to inform all of the other sort of topics that we've spoken about. The reason I was attracted to comedy was because here I could see individuals going up on stage, or at least crafting what is going on in their head, how they perceive the world into a funny manner, packaging it, and then delivering it across to people. With that comes different levels, right? Some people are naturally hilarious with it, and so on and so forth. So there's these different scales. So to me, my vision or my idea of a comedian is someone who is innately able to do that. These people, funny people, like they don't need a joke. They just need to exist in a scenario, and they will just be funny. And those are always the comedians that have made the most impact to me, because they're always usually the ones who you can't ever bite from. They're like, they are so them that even when you even attempt to think the way they would think, you immediately go, oh wait, it's too much them.
Yeah.
And so that informs ego. That means that particular comedian is completely using their filter, and you know, of course, it's much more complex than that. But you're completely using their filter to write or perform, and you know everything that follows on after that. So in terms of joke theft, if you're a new comic and you've been only doing this for a year and you only got like 50 gigs under you, it's supremely difficult to be 100% original in absolutely every single aspect. Oh, no one's that much of a genius. You're picking up things from everyone. Now, the mark of a talented comedian is someone who transcends that after a while, and then all of a sudden you start hearing them having their own little version of whatever it is they've been. So you guys have seen that evolution. I've seen it a lot in you guys too. So my question on that is, to a new comedian, like someone who's, like I said, someone who's only been doing it 6 months, talented person, but you know, there's no point of reference. They come from the corporate world. They come from a stiff, awkward, conservative background. Like, I mean, how do they go all of a sudden they show business?
Attacked.
Other than taking someone's cadence, you know, lifting a few weights. Now, how do they? I'll throw it out. I'll throw it out there. How does that then counter your joke theft theory? How does that impact on your idea of joke theft, concept theft? What do you think? Anyone?
All right. Before we answer that, I have to address this very point. In the chats, I'm noticing Claire Torres has given us 200 Rand tonight.
Oh, shit.
So
damn.
Give her a thank
Peter's
you,
getting
please.
paid.
Yeah. Werner is not getting. Okay, Werner has to get 25 cents to go to his kid.
She says her respect is way much more. Thank you so much, Claire.
Thank you, Claire,
for giving us.
How do you know? I needed alcohol-free beer tonight. I really did.
You don't hit it. It's not that bad.
Thank you, Claire. Comedians we rarely ever get paid, so this is amazing. This is amazing.
Muchas apreciados, Claire.
Okay, but remember, Joe's the organizer, so he's taking 100 Rand and another 50 for tax.
So we have to split up like the rest of us.
Yeah, so I think I've worked it out. Each one of us thereafter, the tax deducted, we're getting about 17 Rand and 43 cents.
I was hoping to get that.
I'll give Peter 20. I'll give Peter 20.
Even when we get paid, it's not enough to make up Peter's $20. We're still $2.57 short of that 20.
Oh, that's one and a half. That's a beer and a sip. That's enough.
Thanks so much. Like anyone, just one. This is one of the questions I had to ask. Like, for someone new, how do they then negotiate between, I don't want to steal an essence, but I have no frame of reference. No.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
Yeah.
Obakeng,
you going first or me?
No, go. You were very eager, so go.
Oh, okay, cool. First, they need to understand that there's, as Peter said, there's no reference point. There's no manual on how to do comedy. For example, massive respect to Obakeng. He's in comedy for like 6 months at the time, and they had plans for his one-man show. So that shows there is no reference point, as in every other profession. If you look at Robin Williams, he did comedy in like the 80s, and I'm sure that's not long after he started. And you look at Kevin Hart, before he popped, there was 20 years before that where he was at the crap,
Yep.
as Obakeng said last week. Yeah, go back to the stream 7 days for greater context. How to combat plagiarism in this climate of this zombie apocalypse? I guess it's easy and the most difficult at the same time, because if you put something online, everybody can see that, and if everybody can see that, there is probably like 3 problems to 1 like. If somebody has a problem with what you say, they could, well, for the lack of a better term, cancel you. And back in our day, when we did comedy in comedy clubs, we could say any joke you'd like, because there's only like 20 people. Or if you're like really good, like Obakeng, 50. Or Peter, 100 people over 10 years. Yeah, so it's trickier now to start comedy than it ever has been before. And that's before addressing woke. So with that, over to Obakeng.
All right,
All right.
understood. Well,
All right.
you got a piece on that, Obakeng?
A little bit.
Okay, go.
From
Because I'm gonna
being
follow up.
okay. So from being new, especially when you are trying to get into comedy, it's very easy for you to kind of pick up things that are generally accepted as funny. You get what I mean? Because you grow up listening. In my case, you grow up and you research comedy and you get into it and you pick up patterns, because this thing is very easy to pick up. Comedy has a lot of patterns. Everybody would talk about racism. Everybody would talk about this. Everybody would talk about that. So it's very easy to pick up patterns and be like, okay, if I'm gonna get in this thing, what is the closest pattern that I can pick up on in my early stages for me to at least get a foot in until I get my quote unquote voice in comedy? Because there's this thing that's spoken of you only find your voice after, I don't know, whatever, 5, 10, whatever years, and then only do you get
10 years.
that kind of thing, and then only do you get into your groove of you as a, as your own act or as your own person in comedy being, as original as possible. So yes, it's very easy to pick up those things. Like my very, very early jokes, which are still very much part of my set till today, it's things that, one, I would pick up. It's stories about myself, but then I picked up similar how can I say, or similar vibes from comedians that I've spoken about, those kind of things. I'm like, okay, they find these things funny about their own lives, and I find these things about my own life, so I'm gonna apply that into my comedy. So it's easy to pick up those patterns. So yeah, that's what I have. That's what I have to say about that. So because when you are very new, you have literally no idea of what to do, because you don't know what your funny is. You just have an interest, and you want your foot in. Exactly, and you and it happens all across entertainment at large. This is not unique to comedy. This is not unique to comedy. It happens in hip hop. It happens in dancing. It happens in anything that is an art form. You pick up patterns and things from people who have done it before you. And once you're in there and tried and got to understand what the industry is about and got to talking and to learning from comedians that came before you or artists that came before you, that's when you kind of get into your own groove. I mean, I got advice as well. Like, I would get on stage and I would do my thing the way I do my thing. But, people would tell me that, like, your style is more like this, or you would, your jokes are more, I don't know, Joburg based, or whatever the case may be, because a lot of my influences have come from, quote unquote, Johannesburg based comedians. So, I kind of develop what I do based on that. You get what I mean? So it's easy to pick up those patterns. But then once you're in, it's very important to kind of develop your own style. But having an influence is not something that should be shunned. That's what I gotta say. When it comes to that.
And
I
if
think we lost
nothing
you.
works, get yourself a wheelchair. We'll copy nothing.
Word. You know what I'm saying? That upper body strength, you work it out. Here's my last question. My last question is sort of a opinion, but also dovetailed into a question. It's to do with clicks. Now,
Yeah.
I've been in this game for a minute. Not always 100%, but I've pushed it and I've loved it. And drawing from myself as an individual, I'm kind of very, very individualistic. Very much self-starter, does his own shit. So when it comes to clicks and stuff, I usually don't give a fuck. I usually prefer not to belong to a clique. So that's my disposition. But when it comes to comedy, and this is, once again, I'll go to something I've said before. Comedy is not something you really do in a group. When you're up there on stage, man, it's you, the mic, that spotlight, and your thoughts. Pretty much. You hear laughs every once in a while. If it's a big stage, you hear laughs. Your thoughts are going well. But usually you're in your head and at the beginning. Let me preface that at the beginning. But as you gain more confidence, you start digging into the crowd a little bit more. You get more comfortable interacting. But you're still in your head. You are still in command of what you speak. If you're good at what you do, if you have any measure of, so for me, thinking of it that way, cliques have never really. I always loved comedians, hanging out with comedians, comedians who I find funny, like hilarious. Look, I find almost everybody funny, but it's not to say. But either way, I like being friends with comedians because of the way they think, and to me, the cliques to me is that. But stage, I don't give a fuck. You're a one-liner guy. You've been doing this for 20 minutes. Oh, you've been doing it for 20 years. Cool, fine. If it's great for friends, but if we're not friends, it does not mean I'm less
interested in your shit. Yeah.
Like, so that's my stance. I'm thinking that's a better stance to have because humans are assholes and comedians are specific assholes. So why would you want to be
very much
a bunch of really specific assholes? I'm thinking, drop that shit. Do what you.
Pause.
Yeah, and also. What do you think about just the advice to just clicks? Who gives a fuck? I mean, right now we are friends. I don't particularly like Obakeng's weightlifting jokes, but we're friends here. We are now thrust into this cabal situation. Should clicks really be a factor in how you tell jokes? And lastly, Chico Munoz, what the fuck?
All right. If I could, if I can go, if no one wants to go before me.
Go ahead.
Okay. Firstly, Peter, you spelled must wrong. You spelled mast as in on a ship.
That's an
A. That's not an U.
I love
shit.
Madam
30%, please sit down.
Please. The Kylie Chow. Mast for. There's a difference between. Okay, Mikhail. Let me school you on this. There's a difference between Chico must fall and Chico must fall.
So Chico has a.
But Chico
owns a yacht.
Must fall.
Okay, Chico, if you own a yacht, check your rigging.
It's a copy of your R.
Okay, before I just want to quickly clarify. When I said earlier we should rather work together, there's going to be one or two individuals in the comment section probably and later going, yeah, but Mikhail, you're being a hypocrite because last week and the week before you've roasted comedians. Aren't you acting the same way as... Let me just clarify. Those are people I called out because I felt they were doing exactly what we are discussing. They were attacking people personally. They were associating us with various things that aren't true, and that should be called out. Let's say, for example, if Martin Evans contacts me personally and says, listen, I differ of opinion of yours. Let's sit down and talk. Dude, that's fine. If we could sit down and talk and either agree to disagree or come to a commonality, does it mean I'm going to continue being an arsehole when I meet him at a gig? No.
Good Wi-Fi
I just feel-
the triangle.
Yeah, probably. The thing is, there's a difference between roasting comedians and calling comedians out that are doing terrible deeds and hoping that comedians in general can just be good people and work together. There's two different things. The one is counteracting the other one, unfortunately.
Right.
So I just need to clarify that for Peter's fellow 30%ers in the comment section.
I have a feeling Mikhail comes to these podcasts with a death wish every week. Who else
Can't
can
rise over this shit.
Dude, I'll give any comedian my home address. They wouldn't have the balls to show up, so that's fine.
Peter, come the fuck back. Jesus.
All right, but on a serious note, when Peter's come back from fetching his dictionary to check the spelling, hey, there we go, Mr. Oxford. How you doing?
Oh my God.
No.
Damn.
Box jump.
I say.
No, the thing is, I agree with Peter that at the end of the day, a comedian is an individual on stage. The clique does not determine your material, and the clique is not meant to influence your material. It's a difference, and obviously, if you can learn from them, but they shouldn't influence what you do. You, as he said, you're a comedian in your own head, trying to verbalize your thoughts on stage.
Right.
And I agree. It's preferable to go to comedy gigs and not be part of a clique or hang out with certain people because you don't like the opinions of the other people. But as I said earlier, it's easier if you have friends in comedy to spend time with them before and afterwards.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The friends that I have made through comedy, I do very much love and
One
appreciate being in my
One
life.
friend. One friend.
That's fine. If it's
One
only one,
friend.
it's
Yeah.
still
It's
one
just
more
Joe.
than I had.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Don't expose Obakeng,
Don't
please.
overextend. Don't overextend your influence. You just have one friend in comedy.
Dude,
that's
obviously
Joe.
I didn't.
That's it.
Obviously that's why I didn't mention you.
Exactly. Just Joe. The one friend that I made in 10 years in comedy is Joe.
I need
So
to
who's still
correct
here
you
with the green
again.
card?
Sorry.
I
Sorry.
need to correct you again. It's 7, not 10. I'm so busy correcting you two.
Three more years to 10 and you still have Joe only as a friend.
It's okay.
Sorry.
At least, unlike Peter, I still have muscles, so it's good.
Oh! There's something I want to address about that, but finish real quick. Finish.
But on a serious note, obviously, it's if I go to a comedy gig, you're going to firstly, if you're performing with friends, obviously you're going to firstly go greet them and afterwards spend time with them because that's the people you associate with in a positive way. It's fun to be around them, and it's fun to spend time with them. I've always treated comedy gigs as an opportunity to have a night out with friends. It's just a very, very lucky coincidence that it's the evening I'm performing and they are fellow comedians. But it's a fun night out. It's an opportunity to see friends you won't usually have the time to. And I think that shouldn't be frowned upon. And I think people that look upon it should not confuse that with cliques. Me spending time, me spending time with fellow friends at a gig doesn't make it a clique. It's spending time with friends. It's nothing more.
Yeah.
You shouldn't read more into it because it looks a certain way.
It's
hanging
all
out
perception
And
again,
obviously,
isn't it?
the more
Just hang it
important
up.
thing is,
Just.
dude, he needs a chiropractor. He's bending in very weird ways.
Yeah. God damn it.
And obviously, if new comedians see this, if they see a group of comedians hanging out that, in most honesty, are most likely just friends, any new comedian shouldn't be afraid to join in because there's a great chance you're going to leave with a friend or
Yeah,
someone that you agree
true,
with afterwards. So
damn doubt.
that's the one important thing. If we can maintain the friendships, because they're a lot more open to new people entering,
Yeah.
and get rid of the cliques, then I think we'll definitely be on the right path.
But would
I
you say comedians are like that anyway? So, sorry, Storm.
No,
Continue.
it's fine. You asked already.
No.
You finished the question. Mikhail?
I'm just saying that for all of you, aren't comedians like that in general? Like, I would have never met Mikhail I don't travel in the philosophy circles and whatever fucked up port tastings happen in Hermanus. I don't know. I would have never gone there.
You don't wear Crocs.
But here we are.
That's why you want
Here
me
we
to.
are.
Yeah.
We are now the cabal of evil Axis. So,
And these friendships they grow comedians if they're just pure friendships, because we just organically become friends in this shit. It happens.
Yeah.
And we grow, and our comedy grows.
No
Because
damn doubt.
We've all experienced being with a group of comedians who are friends at gigs. If a group of friends that are comedians will keep you on your toes a lot more than a heckler ever could.
Yeah, because they heckle you the fuck back. That's what I hate. That's what I love and hate about them. They fucking heckle you. I'm still waiting for my chance to heckle Peter. I need to heckle Peter in my life. That's my goal in life. I need to heckle Peter. You got
here's
he
what
gave me the courage to do my first 5 minutes, but I need to heckle this motherfucker.
Yeah, no,
So
Joseph.
here's
how
the
much
thing.
I love
Here's why you would never heckle me. Here's why you will never heckle me, Obakeng. Because with that forehead of yours, I will see you coming a mile away. Just drop.
Oh, okay.
You can't hide from me, brother.
Okay.
Okay, can I
I'm
just
gonna address
Obakeng
something
with the
very
fuck
quickly,
joke
but
brigade?
we can continue.
Yeah, let's Storm had something to say.
She wants to drop a ball.
I just want to join Obakeng with the pop joke brigade. We've been saying so much things about cliques, okay? And we have nothing against people speaking in vernac. Not that clique, the other clique with a Q. Also, before I forget, we are not doing this because we are vengeful people. Vengeful, bitter, because of an experience we had. We're doing this for everybody after us. Everybody that's going to start comedy. And if we can affect one person joining comedy that doesn't have to experience what clearly, as we've heard in the last hour, what we've experienced, then this podcast has worked.
Storm, are you talking about leaving a legacy there?
No, I changed my name. Experiences.
Yeah, just quickly get No, I think comics in general want to hang out with other comics, and I think comics in general really want to be friends or get along with other comedians. But unfortunately, because you're the new comedian from the outside, you'll have an established comedian that will either have, sadly, the opinion he's an open micer, he's not worth my time, or just, I spoke to him before the show quickly, I didn't really like where he's coming from, he's not worth my time, I don't want to be, I think that unfortunately does sometimes happen. I'm not saying it's the way it always happens, but the more established comedians, some of them, not all of them, but some of them have this sad opinion that either you're the best comedian, best open micer that's ever lived, I want to speak to you, or no, it's his first set, he was terrible, regardless of the fact that he'd never done it before in his life, but no, it was terrible. Do I really want to be seen hanging out with this guy? And there are sadly those. Hopefully, with time, we can honestly, truly say it's in the minority. I'm on the fence at the moment still about whether that is the case.
You're always a pessimist. Of course you're on the fence, you fucking...
No, I'm a realist.
But here's my other... if you were done. By the way, Instagram is my favorite social network. It's visual. No bullshit.
Less
Pictures,
bullshit.
1,000 words. Yeah.
I don't like social media.
Either it's titties or a great mountain. There's no
Booties
real
and
like.
comedy.
Thing is,
Titties,
there's
booties,
a-
mountain comedy.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm liking
Yeah,
TikTok.
like, I
I
love
like
it.
TikTok.
with
It's
that
not
as
like
well.
message. I don't know.
I
But
like,
anyway,
I
so
like TikTok. Or YouTube. If you count YouTube as a social media one, then YouTube now is my favorite.
It is, yeah. I think YouTube too.
Oh,
YouTube.
Yes, now follow Joe. Follow Joe. If you're in the comments and you're not following Joe, follow Joe Emilio right now.
yeah.
Did I just step
subscribe.
Subscribe, guys.
Subscribe to
So,
Joe's show.
Peter,
Subscribe.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
of y'all
but-
that haven't subscribed to the show, subscribe and hit the notification so that you get the notifications, especially on
Yeah.
Wednesdays.
Yeah, we need Joe to get monetized.
Obakeng working hard for that money he lost to Peter.
Yeah.
No,
What?
Peter lost money to me. Here's Peter's money.
Wait.
Here's this.
What have you heard, Storm? Did he pay? Because he hasn't paid me. Storm, what have you heard?
All right. Before we get sidetracked, all right,
Okay,
we have
Peter?
15. I'm gonna cut it off in
Peter?
15 minutes, and
Alright,
I
okay,
do
go
want to
ahead.
address something that Peter's brother actually commented earlier in the live
So you're
chat.
gonna bring my family into this? You're gonna
Yes,
bring my family?
I
I
must.
will
You
not
must.
sit here. I will not sit here.
All right, fine.
Yo, by the
Um,
way, Peter, your brother's so much more interesting than you, bro. Much more interesting. Like, I would watch a whole show with your brother on than your show. I'm just
Yeah, let's
Speaking-
speak. Let's speak
speaking
to the
about-
Sawanga with muscles.
Speaking about
Can
Peter
we address
and
this
his
muscle
brother.
thing real quick,
Hold
Joe?
on. Hold on.
Okay.
Speaking about Peter and his family, I'm actually going to have his sister Mary on the show next week as well. So I'm getting to know the Sawangas.
Hey, Mary's amazing, man. Another talented Sawanga. I don't know what happened to Peter.
You'll find Peter's every
Another talented Sawanga. Dude,
Why are
and
you doing
Peter,
that?
and you know what sucks? Peter is the firstborn, but all the talent went to his siblings. Like, how sad is that shit?
All right. Here's
I will
Why
I will not
us
sit
out?
here.
I mean, he's a talented.
Talented musician, sister, talented radio host, Peter. Quack, quack, quack.
Well, Obakeng
This is
said
unacceptable.
that Peter is talented
This is
in the running,
preposterous.
so he was a fast
all right. The
one
roast
out.
of Peter Sawanga is now over. Now, okay.
I'm just
So
the
Sam
podcast.
is asking us, what about musicians that cover other musicians' music? Can you not cover someone else's jokes or like remix it? Now I'm going to
Oh.
start by saying music and comedy are two different genres. What applies to music does not necessarily apply to comedy, because when you are going to remix or cover someone's joke, it becomes plagiarism. It's a weird thing though, because like it seems like music, it's okay to remix, it's okay to play, but even when you cover someone's art or cover someone's music, you are supposed to give I think royalties or something.
Royalties,
Yeah,
we do.
like
Yeah,
because
yeah,
like
yeah.
Eminem got in trouble with that one song, well, a few songs actually, when he took some of the snippets of other songs and put them in his stuff.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's kind of the same. But yeah, comedy you can't. It's not music.
It's a playing field that has never been explored when it comes to comedy. I think comics, what they've done is they would pay respects to a certain comedian by referencing them in material that specific part of their joke belongs to this person, but they won't necessarily say the joke word for word. But like you said, Joe, it exists in two different spheres, so
Yeah,
it's not the same.
And also, I've seen in America though that some comedians have done tribute shows. So, for example, they'll market it as a tribute show. So they'll say like, "This is a tribute show to Robin Williams," and then they'll have a lineup of comedians doing his jokes, but everyone knows that it's Robin Williams' jokes. So that's it can work because you're still crediting the original creator of that joke. I haven't seen it done here, but I've seen it in America a few times.
Well, Mikhail, I'll go after you. Sorry, continue. Sorry.
No, but thank you. In Afrikaans comedy, there is a bit more of it, and it can be perceived as comedy. Obviously, there might be more people watching. As an Afrikaner, we've been very, very blessed with sadly passed almost about 20 years ago, but we were very blessed with an individual called Tola van der Merwe.
Yeah.
Yes, Otola.
Yeah, it goes hilarious.
And
hilarious.
he had a great friend and colleague called Jan Spies that also passed away many, many, many years ago. And there's a type of Afrikaans comedy that very much goes around storytelling. It's very much comedy. The whole point of the story is to have this great punchline thereafter. And a lot of the story is also done in a very humorous way. And you'll see a lot since Tola van der Merwe's passing. Many Afrikaans comedic storytellers will openly say, "This is not mine. This is a great story that I heard from Tola," and then retell it. Because the nice thing is with characters like that we've had, firstly, the audience is under no impression that it's been stolen. And because they were familiar with that comedic story and enjoyed it the first time they heard it, when Tola told it originally, or Jan Spies, there's more of an appreciation, but it's appreciation because they've been able to hear it again. Because with someone like Tola van der Merwe, there was also this great fear that these great stories and skits that he did passed away with him. So it's not really a tribute show. It's just Afrikaans storytelling comedians showing their appreciation for what people like Tola and Jan Spies did before them, and it gives the audience long after their passing a second bite at the cherry, so to speak. I can't speak on behalf of English comedy and the many comedians that we have with the other native languages in South Africa, but from an Afrikaans,
it's pretty much the same. I mean, in terms of it's all in line. It's very much a European. Like if you go stretch back far enough, it's very much a sort of a storytelling tradition and sort of honor thing. I don't even know how to succinctly describe it, but you are correct. From my own,
I think that's fine, and I think it's great. It's fun hearing comedians, and the thing is, they're not putting their own twist on it. It's literally word for word, but it's still great to hear these very comedic stories again, because we don't have Tola van der Merwe anymore. We don't have Jan Spies anymore, and to be able to hear it again is very much appreciated. So I think it can be done. But I think there's so many factors, including culture and language and background, that need to be ironed out before you do it. But there are examples of it being done. Now, because it's in Afrikaans, is it an exception to the rule? I'm not qualified to say whether it is or not. But I have at least seen and experienced that great comedy jokes, great comedy stories in Afrikaans have been retold, and always there's been a lot of respect with regards to saying, I'm telling a Tola van der Merwe story now, or a Jan Spies story. And the round of applause is still massive afterwards, and people still laugh as loud as they did when they heard it the first time. So that's my viewpoint on it.
All right, I just want to say something.
I agree with you.
Sorry, Peter, I just want to say something very quickly. We have 8 minutes left, to going on 7 now, so I will cut it in 7-ish minutes. What I want to also say is, I think at this point, we can all agree that our conversations about the woke is slowly dying out as we get more into comedy and the bits about comedy. So I think next show we will do a Q&A with regards to the series that we've just done, which is the woke, because there have been things that we've missed out on, questions and comments and stuff like that. I'll do the research and bring it up and we'll address it. Moving forward, though, we didn't really touch on the business side of things in this session, and nor did we touch on how some gigs can hurt and venues can hurt the industry. So I think that's an important topic to talk about. So we can do the following week, we can touch on that and give our opinions on that. I think that's very important. So just wanted to fill you guys in, wanted to fill the audience in, and that's where we're going to go forward. Peter, continue, please.
Yeah.
Look, my final words is this. I think in the stand-up comedy started in the States, North America, out of the old vaudeville tradition. Now remember, recorded sound music has only been around like 100, 150 years. And for, a couple of 100 years before that, you had people doing acts, shows, plays, and the same performers would sort of sell the act to different regions. And so joke or the act used to be performed by different people. Then recording came in where you would see one person on television, the original person, and that was the guy. That was the person. So it's kind of a new thing, which then brings me all the way back down to my same old point, down to the ego and the individual. My thing is that everything springs out of that. If you're an insecure comic, you're going to steal. If you are an inconfident business comedian, you're going to run shitty gigs. You're not going to take care of your audience. And if you're a super self-centered, self-destructive comic, you're not going to get along with other comics. So, the click thing is not going to work out for you. At the end of the day, it's usually how you carry yourself and how you orient yourself within stand-up. And nobody's a genius. Nobody really should pretend to know how this works. And I still think that with enough deadlifts, one can achieve that muscle tonnage that is great for Joe's podcast.
Can I just finish the social media bit?
Yes, sure.
Can I just finish the social media bit?
Go ahead.
So, Peter, Instagram, right? Joe, Instagram.
No, TikTok. YouTube. See, YouTube. I like YouTube.
Oh, shit. Stick with TikTok.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just of those three then.
Shit. Instagram, I guess.
Instagram, okay. Mikhail, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook?
From personal experience, I think personally Twitter has been the most effective, but it could be to the fact that it's also based on I've focused more on Twitter. I think Instagram and Facebook could equally be valuable if I spent the same amount of time and energy on them. So it's more based on how much the one you use the most.
Okay, perfect. Obakeng?
Me, it's Facebook and Instagram, no doubt. Twitter, very little. I'm not as active there at all.
Okay.
So those are my.
Perfect. This is why I ask. In Joe's briefing 2 weeks ago, we mentioned people sharing something we work on. And it happens for like a day or two, and then it doesn't. Now, I might be late to the party. I feel Twitter is the best form where this can be done. Because Instagram, the reach is basically only the people that follow you and the occasional stalker that checks your profile. Twitter, you can retweet. Facebook, share it. Now, everybody in the live chat, everybody in the comments after this, everybody that just sees this, smash the link, put it on your social media, everywhere, and share it.
That's
Last
right.
week, I
agree with him.
Last week, I think we approached 200. Now, this is a challenge to everybody watching this. Let's smash the 200. And I'll be checking 7 days if we did.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? That's
Like
a
a
good message.
pulse.
I will not get a tattoo for any of that shit.
All right, no. How about this? If we hit more than 200 views on this video, Obakeng, you have to give Peter his 20 rand.
Right here. It's right here. I got it. It's right here, fam. Listen. It is. Can I quickly address something though? I don't. Oh, sorry, Summer. Were you still?
No. Go ahead.
Don't we have like 3 minutes left? Is he gonna address something?
I just wanna address something very, very ironic. We've been talking about Peter's muscle mass the whole entire fucking show. Don't you think it's ironic that he has a poster of KG Mokhadi right in the background called Heavy? And he's out here being I'm just like, this is a perfect before and after picture. Peter Square right now is like a very mug ad.
Nice.
I'm just saying.
You and your
I'm just saying,
you
Peter.
and your cabal of shit. But I will not tolerate this.
But Peter, but don't you think so? Like, it's very ironic that you have a poster of KG Mokhadi and it's called Heavy, and you're out here being a lightweight motherfucker. I'm just like, is that inspiration or what's going on?
But I
just asking.
Listen, Captain IMAX forehead. KG, Captain Kilograms, is my good friend.
I know that. I know, but I'm just saying
And
from
I
an
will
aesthetic point
not
of view.
have you.
All right,
Guys,
but
guys.
can we quickly address something?
Can
I
we
need
please
to get this out of my
have
system.
a roast with Peter and Obakeng? Please.
Yes.
I beg
roast
you.
master.
I beg you. I beg you both. I beg you so much.
I'm roast
Not
master.
Please,
survive.
I will
I
pay.
will not
I
I'm
will
just
pay
looking-
you.
I'm just looking at this
I
shit.
will-
I'm just like, yo.
I promise you guys, I will outpace this IMAX dreaming son of a bitch.
Thank you for roasting me with my own joke. Where we were just talking about joke theft not so long ago, but it's right here and it's apparent.
That
right
was your
here.
joke, because I
I've
saw
been
that
saying in my
joke at
jokes
the
that
McDonald's.
I dream
I'm
in HD,
saving my
and here's this
best
motherfucker
stuff
still.
funeral.
On the other
We are
hand,
just talking about.
let's be
Sorry,
fair.
man. No, what I'll do, Joe. If the roast ever happens, I'll bring food, like actual food. So Peter has something to eat.
See.
before-
Even
the
Yanni says he'll pay for that roast. I'm telling you. Come on,
It's gonna be
guys.
fun.
Come on.
On my side from the vault, I thought
Yeah.
this guy was.
I would.
Okay.
Like I
firstly,
said, like Mikhail.
Firstly, I'm roast master for that one because it's going to be great. Secondly, I love the fact that Obakeng or that Peter used outpace. That's unfair. You Kenyan, you outpace most of us, so that's not that's a comedy enhancing drug, so you can't use it. And then lastly, Joe, your channel, the first merch you ever drop is t-shirts that says "I will not sit here."
Yes.
That's the first t-shirts we need to print
I like.
for this channel. Is
I
"I will not sit here."
Doing
I
it.
like
I'm
the
doing
fact
it.
that-
Absolutely.
I like the
Absolutely.
fact that I like the fact that Peter's head looks like a baked bean. Can you guys see like it's a baked bean? Like it's a all you need is tomato sauce. motherfucker.
Come on, Peter. Are you just gonna let him do that to you? Come on, man.
It's all,
Let's
it's
do a roast.
Like,
nah, see,
I have a question for
Don't
Peter.
just sit
I
there.
like Peter, you have on a fucking rugby shirt. You wouldn't even be a flank, motherfucker. You wouldn't even be a wing.
Yeah.
Like
because I'm scrummer.
which
Like,
part
I'm
of rugby are you playing? Like what are you? Like where are you in this rugby? Like no. Like the ball is heavier than you, guy. Like
Cheerleader.
The tender
Peter, I have a
signer.
question. How can
I'm
somebody
the
come
tender
from Kenya
signer.
and eat less?
Yeah? No, Peter is my after picture. Like if I have too much Heba life, I will end up looking like I'm trying not to. Like it's just like yo, if you go to the extremes of weight loss, you end up looking like Peter, and you lose your hair at that. So
Oh
Sorry.
man.
I'm sorry.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
I think
I'm
I
sorry.
think I
You know.
think people in the comments are calling Peter a roast chicken. I'm not sure why.
Why? He
Not the
needs to
people's
eat
in
one.
comment. I know it's this motherfucker.
And then no, it's not actually.
Peter-
It's not him.
Peter will definitely
and-
beat
and-
me at
and-
jumps.
and-
And,
And
runs.
your brother says chicken roast win. I will stereotype the heck out of that thing. Give me chicken.
But let's find out. Will the comment section want to buy "I will not sit here" t-shirts? Because I think we need to have them.
I'll buy those t-shirts.
I'll
I'll
buy
buy
it.
the shit out of
Yeah.
it.
I'd buy it. Yeah, we'll make it happen. We'll
Comment
make it
section.
happen.
Comment section.
As long
we
as-
want,
Yeah.
As long
we
as
need to
what?
know from the comments.
We just need to
You
find
give
one
me
that fits
one.
Peter. Because I don't know
Yeah.
if there's a size that actually that they
I'll
make
buy
to
it
fit
and
Peter.
not
I don't
wear
know.
it. Anyway.
I don't know. I don't know if they make those sizes because I don't know. What size do Kenyans wear? Like what is it? Like extra small? What's going on? Like I just want to know. I just want to know.
It's,
Like
no, it's
am I-
1-year-old.
am I from
1-year-old.
the kiddie section? What's going on?
Any,
Like,
any size that fits over Obakeng's head. Yeah.
dude,
Sam,
You
would
all
say
right,
like-
here we go. Sam saying
Just
yes.
let's go
Yanni
get-
saying yes.
There
Claire
we go.
saying yes. Reese saying yes.
that's
They want the
that's
shirts.
money. That's money.
They want the shirts.
We
That's
need
fine.
The
to.
US
Yeah.
got Barack
So-
Obama and
so-
we got Peter.
So we
Look,
get t-shirts. We get t-shirts that say "I will not sit here," and then for Storm we get one that says "I'm still sitting here."
No, We get one for something that goes roll up. They see me rolling.
Yes! Comedy, baby!
Am I a bun or a roll?
All right, guys.
Oh, you know what?
I think on
As
that
long as I get
bombshell.
my
It's like-
$20.
Like, don't be confused. These are not wheelies.
Oh,
I'll have a t-shirt saying, I will not stand here.
I will not stand here.
Don't reinvent the wheel. If you mention the t-shirt, don't reinvent the wheel.
Don't.
Sorry.
Oh, okay,
sorry.
last one. That's my
We
parking
going-
spot.
That's a beautiful square, man.
All right. On that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us for an hour and a half and talking. As you can see, we're all friends here. So we'll think about the shirts. We'll
No.
definitely make it happen.
Okay.
No, make the shirts happen.
We'll make the shirts happen. And then I'm going to try and see if we can convince Obakeng and Peter to have a roast. That would be interesting.
Hey,
But,
man, I'm down. I know it's gonna be a fun one. I'm really down. I'm really down to roast my boy. Peter got me the courage to go to do my first 5 minutes in stand up. So it'd be an honor for me to roast Peter. And yeah. Definitely. I'll even pay for
To
that.
convince me a guy in wheelchair can do stand-up.
Oh, hey, both of y'all.
I'm really game, and I think just for fun, I'm really game to do that show. And I'm saying it right now on air. If Peter, you want to do a roast show, I'm game to do a roast show with you, bro. Just out of respect, for real. And because I got the 10
Okay,
minutes.
Mikhail.
Oh, don't. I'm
Mikhail,
trying to
I'm
give
feeling
Joe
left out.
back.
What?
Mikhail,
I'm
I'm
trying
feeling left out.
Yeah,
You
because we-
challenged this Peter,
Let
I
Peter
challenge you
speak.
for the second time.
Yo,
Oh, you want to lose again? I'll leave you outside. I did last time.
All right.
I will not
Oh, the-
stand here.
No, you will
Hey,
not
we-
sit here.
the
Yes.
storm goes round and round. Oh, sorry.
Peter, what were you trying to say?
Sorry.
I'm just
I
waiting. I'm
apologize.
just waiting.
I apologize
That
for
one.
that back joke. I apologize.
Run. Okay. All right. Okay, let's let one try. Okay, Joe. I'm gonna give Joe a soundbite. I've just heard of two roast challenges. Challenge accepted.
Oh,
Yeah.
For the first time in his life, Peter's actually flexing tonight. Well done, sir.
What is this? I
Flexing
thought.
what? Nothing moved.
Well,
Oh, we're
Nothing
gonna
moved
set
when
it
he
we
flexed.
started already?
Muscle lives matter.
No, there's no muscle there.
All right, we're gonna set it up. I'll announce
Peter is
it
the
within the week.
picture of every fitness promo is are you tired of looking skinny? Well, my life is your friend.
Voice mic.
It's like
A voice
You know-
mic.
yeah.
Let me
Peter's the
just
before ad of every Verimark ad. Sorry.
let me just. I feel like this is an important message for you guys. Yanni Vandervelt saying, guys, thank you so much. Needed this stream for a good laugh. You guys all rock. Claire saying, thank you so much. Laura saying, come on. Matthew saying, I'll be there. Team Pete. There's a hashtag starting in the comments. Hashtag
Goddamn
Team
right.
Pete.
$20, Pete.
Claire
Damn.
saying, hashtag Team Chicken.
Oh,
Wait, hashtag
looks like
team-
Guys, have you had
hashtag
chocolatey
team
Claire?
Peter.
You remember those chocolatey Claires? Like, hey, I'm Chucky.
All right, so we will be
better
back
not.
next week
You better
with
not.
a Q&A session of this series that we've been doing. I'll go back and look at some of the questions that may have missed.
Question is
And
where-
then the following week, we will discuss the business side of comedy and venues and gigs that could hurt us or hurt the industry, rather. And then there was something else. Oh, yes, of course, the roast. I will announce that on the channel within the week. We'll get a date together, and it will happen. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you to everybody who tunes in. Thank you so much. Thank you to Claire for the 200 Rand donation. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you to Obakeng,
Thank you.
Mikhail, Peter, and Storm Legacy for joining me tonight. This was really, really fun. And you guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you again here next week, ladies and gentlemen, for Funny You Should Say That. And Werner, I hope everything worked out for you and everybody is safe. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much. Stay safe, be kind to one another, and remember. And I'll see you at the next one. Cheers. Hey guys, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and a share. That's how my content gets out there. Also, don't be afraid to comment. I usually do respond to the comments in the comment section below. If you want to support my channel, please go to the link in the description below, support my channel, and you'll be taken to my website, which has all the details. Also, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Also, feel free to check out the links below to my social media accounts. Give me a follow, and I'll see you at the next one.